This is Mark McCleskey, BrazilDirect.us. I'm here with my professor, Vic Sprecher, and Vic is going to talk about the benefits of Emily today. Go ahead, take it away, Vic.
Thank you, Mark. Before we get into the benefits, for just a note, Emily has such diversification. She's used by NOAA for research of hurricane predictions, also by riptide predictions. She is being used currently in the government, by our United States government, for surveillance, and many other applications by the U.S. Navy. She can also be used by platforms when someone falls off of a platform, an oil and gas platform. But Emily is an amazing technology that can be used in such diversity in almost any applications, including recreational. I'd like to get into some of the benefits as far as Emily rescue capabilities, but first off, let's talk about the jet drive. The jet drive minimizes the risk of any injury to people that are in the water. First off, because there's no propeller whatsoever to injure a victim. Very important. Her speed, her quickness, her maneuverability. Remember, she only weighs 25 pounds, so a person can immediately throw Emily into the water to rescue a person, being such a light robot. And again, she is so maneuverable that she can go immediately to that person, and she is controlled by a simple controller. She can outrun big surf if we're out in the ocean. She can safely hover inside of what we call a surf zone. She gets to the victim faster, up to 15 times faster than the world's fastest swimmers. So an amazing capability of instantly responding.
Now, Vic, I know that we talked earlier today about some of the new countries that have picked up Emily and some of their uses with their patrol boats and stuff like that.
That is right, Mark. Even other countries such as Indonesia and South Korea, they are completely using Emily on all of their water patrol, if you will, Coast Guard boats. And that's to save a person that might be in distress. So it's the standard Emily that we see right here. This is exactly what we're using. And again, on every single one of their boats. So
what are some of the ways that Emily might be used on a boat?
Well, first off, in many cases, even the Coast Guard has told me that when they're apprehending people or the Border Patrol, unfortunately people fall off their boats. And when they're in a rescue mode, or pardon me, when they're in a mode to try to find someone who is fleeing from them, if they're a drug runner, and they lose one of their own crew, they may not be able to rescue that person under normal conditions. So by having an Emily on board, Emily can go out, retrieve that person, secure them while they're still in pursuit, and it would be a high-speed pursuit. So Emily has that capability of saving lives and making sure that people are obviously safe. So would you like me to go over some of the other benefits?
Right. And before you, I think it's important to mention the oil and gas side while we're talking about that.
Oil and gas, a huge industry, by the way. Emily, if someone's working on a platform, and let's say it's 20, 50, 100 feet off the water, you can actually throw Emily off of a platform if one of their workers has fallen, and that's due because of waves or wind or current, and it happens all the time. They work 24 hours, 7 days a week, in all kind of adverse conditions. When someone falls off of a platform, Emily to the rescue, and she can instantly save that person's life. Whereas previously and currently, they've been lowering a boat down into the water in order to go out and search for that person. Well, we can also attach a lanyard right to Emily and go out and secure the person as well. You can also have collar pins that are in every single one of the workers' shirts, and as soon as they hit water, it will immediately energize Emily, and it will go out. It's a transmitter and a receiver, and will go immediately out to the person that's in distress and rescue them.
And Emily knows the difference between salt water and tap water.
Absolutely. So she's a rather amazing product.
Very cool.
She's also a small size vehicle. She's less intimidating than any boat or a personal watercraft. She can work closely to rocks and piers. That's real important as far as surf rescue, because a lot of times if you get victims that are close to a pier or close to rocks, they're in trouble. Well, Emily can go ahead and secure those persons and be secured, be brought right back. As an example, they're using that up in Oregon, in Depot Bay, where they have tremendous currents, huge waves, cold water. People go out and get themselves in trouble. They get close to the jetties and to the piers, and they can send Emily out and secured by a simple lanyard and pull these people right back to safety. Whereas in the past, the waters are so extreme, most of these people perish. So she's wonderful.
And this is the beach you told me about that that it's really against the law for the lifeguards to even go out.
Absolutely. The marshals come down and forbid the lifeguards to go out when it gets that severe. And they'll go right out and take an Emily, send her out, and then rescue people. We just had an example just last summer of two people, a dad and a son, being swept off of a jetty out into the water, and it was one of those incredible days that a lifeguard was not allowed to go into the water. They would have perished. But Emily to the rescue. That's right on YouTube, by the way. You can see that. So getting back to the benefits of Emily, if she's capsized, by the way, in large waves, she will automatically self-right herself. So she has a tremendous capability of immediately coming back to rewrite herself. She, of course, provides that flotation. She can secure up to 5 people or a total weight of 550 pounds. So rather amazing for a 25-pound robot to be able to do these kind of things. She's quick. She's easily deployed off of any beach for quick, swift water rescue and fire departments. She will immediately go out and retrieve that person who is hanging onto a tree or a car, and you can send Emily right out. And so the fire departments are just now being exposed to Emily and the capability, and she's going to save many lives as a result of that. Again, she only weighs 25 pounds. She's extremely durable in that she has a complete waterproof capability inside. So she could get flooded with water by being thrown in extreme conditions, will never hurt the electronics whatsoever, completely sealed systems. So in the maintenance of the craft, it's really easy to do. We're going to go over that a little bit later on. I would like to talk about some of the limitations, though, because we also have areas that we need to be aware of. If we are in a surf application, and frankly, I just was last week where the winds were up to 40 miles an hour, and it will throw Emily around. So we just have to know how to use Emily, her effectiveness, because she will perform wonderfully as long as the conditions are not hurricane type force winds that sometimes get very fast. Although we do have a vehicle for hurricanes used by NOAA that's specifically developed, designed, and looks very much about 10 inches longer than this particular vehicle. As far as
so there's another Emily. There's
Yeah.
another a big sister.
That's exactly right. We have several big sisters that can be used, but for all practical purposes, this is the Emily that all your platform oil and gas would use. The beach patrols, this is what Emily's going to use, and we do have other Emilys that can be used in surveillance for extended periods of time. Where
When they're under surveillance, how do they maneuver? How do they control Emily?
GPS. It can all be done by
Similar to all the drone technology?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, those are controlled typically with gasoline, petrol, so that they can be out into the waters for up to 10 days and go and search for, let's say they want to find a boat that may have sank a number of centuries ago, and they have kind of an idea as to where she might have sank. Well, what you can do is just program the coordinates right into Emily, and she'll go and do a perfect communication level reporting right back to the person, and even show a map as to where this sunken ship was hundreds of years ago. So she has great capabilities with sonar as well as for high resolution cameras. So let's go to limitations again. Emily can operate by line of sight. It's easy for a person to lose the line of sight if they take her out too far. The typical rescue for ocean applications is normally within 100 to 250 feet. That's where 95% of people drown. Emily is wonderful for going out quickly, saving a life. If in fact they run Emily out too far, they can lose track of Emily. So we do put a flag on Emily, and that helps with big wave applications. That helps, but there's a depth perception there, if you will. So there's now I'd like to get into a pre-operation checkout. Would you like me to go into that?
Well, let's take a break and let everybody go, do a little refreshing of themselves, and we'll be right back with much more from Vic Sprecher, Hydronaulics, and Emily.